Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that the money sitting in your bank account is quietly losing value every single day. You did not spend it. No one stole it. Yet somehow it buys less than it used to. This invisible force is called inflation, and it affects almost every economy in the world. Most people notice inflation when prices begin to rise. Groceries become more expensive, rent increases, fuel costs more, and everyday products slowly climb in price. At first, these changes may feel small, almost unnoticeable. But over time they accumulate and the difference becomes significant. The same amount of money that once covered a comfortable lifestyle may suddenly feel insufficient. To understand inflation, we need to begin with a simple idea. Inflation is the general increase in the prices of goods and services over time. When inflation rises, the purchasing power of money falls. In other words, the same amount of money buys fewer things in the future than it does today. This means inflation quietly reduces the real value of money if that money is not growing at a similar or faster rate. But inflation does not appear randomly. It usually happens because of several economic forces working together. One of the most common causes of inflation is an increase in the supply of money. When central banks create more money within an economy, the total amount of currency circulating increases. If the supply of goods and services does not increase at the same pace, prices often rise. More money begins chasing the same amount of products, which pushes prices upward. Governments and central banks sometimes increase the money supply intentionally. During economic crises, recessions, or financial instability, policymakers may inject large amounts of money into the economy to stimulate spending and investment. This can help businesses survive difficult periods and encourage economic recovery. However, if too much money enters the system too quickly, inflation can accelerate. Another cause of inflation comes from supply disruptions. When the production or transportation of goods becomes more difficult, the supply of those goods may shrink. At the same time, demand may remain strong. When fewer products are available but many people still want them, prices tend to rise. Events such as natural disasters, global conflicts, energy shortages, or major supply chain disruptions can all contribute to this type of inflation. Labor costs can also influence inflation. When wages rise significantly across an economy, businesses often face higher operating costs. To maintain profitability, companies may increase the prices of their products and services. This process can create a cycle where rising wages lead to rising prices, which can then influence future wage demands. While higher wages can improve living standards, they can also contribute to broader inflationary pressure if productivity does not increase at the same pace. Inflation is often measured through indexes that track the prices of common goods and services over time. Economists analyze these measurements to estimate how quickly purchasing power is changing. When inflation remains moderate and predictable, it can actually support economic growth. Small levels of inflation encourage spending and investment rather than hoarding money. If people expect prices to rise gradually, they may choose to invest or spend money rather than letting it sit idle. However, when inflation rises too quickly, it can create serious economic challenges. Rapid inflation erodes savings, increases uncertainty, and makes long-term planning more difficult for both individuals and businesses. In extreme cases, inflation can spiral into a situation known as hyperinflation, where prices rise so quickly that money loses value almost daily. History provides several dramatic examples of hyperinflation, where currencies collapsed and economic stability disappeared. While such extreme scenarios are rare, they demonstrate how powerful inflation can become when it escapes control. One of the most important truths about inflation is that it affects different groups of people in different ways. Individuals who rely heavily on fixed income or savings may experience the strongest impact. As prices rise, their purchasing power gradually declines if their income does not increase at a similar pace. On the other hand, people who own assets that grow in value during inflationary periods may experience the opposite effect. Assets such as stocks, real estate, and certain commodities can sometimes increase in price when inflation rises. This means asset owners may see their wealth grow while the value of cash savings declines. This difference is one reason many investors focus on owning productive assets rather than holding large amounts of idle cash. Investing allows money to participate in economic growth and potentially keep pace with inflation. When companies raise prices, expand operations, and increase profits, shareholders may benefit from that growth. Real estate owners may see property values and rental income increase as the cost of living rises. While investments carry risks, they can also provide protection against the gradual erosion caused by inflation. Governments and central banks constantly attempt to manage inflation through monetary policy. Central banks adjust interest rates to influence borrowing and spending within the economy. When inflation rises too quickly, interest rates may increase in order to slow economic activity and reduce price pressure. Higher interest rates make borrowing more expensive, which can reduce spending and investment. When inflation falls too low or economic growth slows dramatically, central banks may reduce interest rates to encourage borrowing and stimulate economic activity. This delicate balance is one of the most challenging responsibilities in economic policy. Policymakers must attempt to control inflation without slowing economic growth too aggressively. The truth about inflation is that it is not simply an economic statistic. It is a force that shapes financial decisions, investment strategies, and the long-term value of money. Understanding inflation helps individuals make better choices about saving, investing, and protecting their financial future. People who ignore inflation may believe their money is stable when in reality its purchasing power is gradually shrinking. Those who understand inflation recognize the importance of allowing their money to grow faster than the rate at which prices increase. In the end, inflation reveals a simple but powerful lesson about money. Money that remains idle slowly loses strength, while money placed into productive assets has the potential to grow and maintain its value over time. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about money, investing, and how the global financial system really works, make sure to like this video, share it with someone who might find it useful, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss future videos. And if you want to continue learning right now, check out the other videos on this channel where we break down powerful financial ideas and economic concepts in simple animated explanations.